Hey, and welcome to Map 8 of Lunar Apocalypse in Duke Nukem 3D. This is Dark Side. And the first thing we've got to do here is get rid of all of these enemies here. There's a few enemies here who can really do some damage to us, so the best thing for us to do is just get rid of them. And as you can see, they were not afraid to damage me there. So that was not nice at all. So we're going to head down here and shoot these enemies. This is a very long level, by the way, so strap yourselves in and let's take a good look outside here. You can see that we are very much on the lunar surface here. This is very much a moon base, and yeah, goodness. We're going to head outside here. Now, interesting fact, if you have a jetpack, you can actually skip quite a lot of this level by simply jetpacking over the sides there, because you don't actually need to grab the blue key. Let's try and get rid of those guys without wasting too much ammo. But yeah, if you have a jetpack, you can sail over there and you can pretty much get into the second third of the level. And I described it that way on purpose because there's three very distinct sections of this level, kind of divided into thirds. You can see there the blue key card. That's actually what we're going to be hunting for as we head in this direction. There is actually a secret here, which I'm going to grab. But yes, as we head out this way, you can see that we're actually going to be making use of some transit hubs here. But not before we blow up this wall and all the enemies inside. So I used to love these as a kid. I was fascinated by them, like, and I used to sort of enjoy just sort of hitting the switch here, moving back and forth, because it's really cool. This is a really nice feature in the game. It's nice that you can kind of, it just adds a huge sense of scale to this level. Like, this really does feel like a penultimate level because it's so big and massive, and these transport hubs really add to that, I find. Oh, didn't mean to hit that. So I'm going to use the freeze ray here. You can see that we are very much just heading through caverns here, filled with monsters. This room is pretty nasty. There's a bunch of tripwires inside, and there's also a bunch of, oh god, hello, a bunch of those guys in here. But obviously we've just tripped the trap there, so luckily we didn't take too much damage. Want to destroy you. So grab the Devastator ammo there. And as we head into this room here, there's a whole bunch of enemies here that we need to get rid of. I don't want to waste too much ammo on these guys. There's a lot of level for us to be working through, so I would like to just use the pipe bombs effectively here. You can see that unfortunately those astronauts in there are not having the best of time. Grab all the items there. You can flip the light switch on and off here. So this is actually a secret area that goes behind the room we were just in and lets you kind of drop down into the water tanks. Now there's only really one that you want to drop into, and it's the second one on the left here. It actually has a shrink ray inside. And as you can see, some enemies have spawned on the other side there. They can't do any damage to us inside of there, but we will want to get rid of them. We can't open that door just yet. We have to open it from the other side, and it's quite a journey to get there, so let's do that. Again, I'm a big fan of the space-based aesthetic here. This part I hate because it's very easy to get crushed here if you don't time your runs carefully. My interpretation of this area is just this is like a sewage dump, so this is where all the crap ends up from the area we were just in, and I can't imagine what this smells like if you could smell these games. You can also see there's quite a few enemies in here, so it's not a nice space for us to be in for any extended period of time. As you can see, you can duck under the water if you really want to. There's only a small med pack down there, nothing too exciting. But as we head in here, This is like a mortuary, so this is where they would do the autopsies on the aliens. And as soon as we grab the key card there, yeah, the room kind of fills with all of these lovely enemies. So it's only polite that we get rid of these guys. This is one thing I really love about Duke Nukem compared to Doom, that Doom tries to create these like realistic spaces, but Duke Nukem just makes it look so effortless. Like, this feels like an actual functioning base with like areas designated for specific reasons, and it's really cool to kind of wander through these bases and kind of see like the layout and kind of the thought that was put into like the functions of all these different areas. This was a fun little area. It was a nice little section, and this level kind of likes employing the tactic of filling rooms you've already been in with enemies just to try and catch you out. So we're kind of done with this section here. That's kind of 1/3 of the level done here. So the world's slowest opening door there lets us into this elevator. So this is a very funky room, blue lights and enemies inside, so it's quite a interesting little time. So this is the area I was talking about earlier. If you jetpack onto this ramp here, you can actually just sort of skip that entire area we just went to in order to grab the blue key. So when I'm kind of playing this normally, I will actually save my jetpack to achieve that, because there's no reason you really want to go out to that blue keycard area unless you really have to. And as you can see, there's another transport hub here. We just grabbed another shrink ray, so if you didn't grab the first one, there's the second one for you. Again, this level likes employing these mass transit hubs, and they are pretty neat. Just making sure there's no enemies down there. So the thing about this area is, we're going to grab that large med pack, that it is quite intimidating getting the yellow key, and you'll see what I mean when we get there. Okay, that room's exploding. And don't worry, I do know there's an air vent to the left here. We're actually going to circle around and come through it, so you'll see what's in there in a bit, don't worry. So this room's really interesting. There's enemies down there, there's enemies across the way. If you drop down there, which we will in a second, there's a bunch of Octobrains who will sort of try to take us out. Great use of colour here, nice contrast. Never a fan of these though, never a fan of the drones. So the way this platform comes up here as well is really funky, because it kind of spins around and then sort of drops like that. So we don't need to go down right now, but you can play around with this if you really want to. So this is actually that air vent we were talking about earlier. If we go up top there, we'll actually come out where we were earlier on. You can see there's a whole bunch of babes in here, and unfortunately in this version we can't save them, so all we can really do is put them out of their misery. It's really weird seeing the expander in this episode. Because when I was a kid we didn't have the 4th episode, we didn't get that. So the expander is kind of something I'm not used to really seeing in this part of the game. There's a little secret over here, and it has some pipe bombs inside. Those will be insanely useful as we get towards the end of the level. You'll see what I mean as we get there. So this is that vent we were talking about earlier, and it brings you back out to this area here. So far, so fun in this level, and we're going to be heading into an area here which can catch you by surprise if you're not careful, as I found out when I was recording this the first time around. If you come into here with little health, you can get caught by the rockets from the bottom of the room there, so you've got to be a bit careful, making sure you don't kind of get blasted in the face. That's the last thing you want, let's be honest. So the yellow key's up there. If you have the jetpack, you can actually avoid triggering the generator here, which, again, it's another one of those like little story moments that you have to kind of do. Just get out of the way of it. Don't stand in the way of it, because it will just kill you. But as you can see, we've destroyed the generator there, and there's the earth. So as we make our way back to the central hub, there's going to be a bunch of enemies who've spawned in, and we're going to have to deal with those. We don't want to fall down here, because that only adds more time onto the level here. This level's long enough as it is. I do love the base aesthetic here. I think this is one of the more interesting levels, because I think that it kind of manages to make all the spaces it kind of presents in these space bases a lot more interesting than maybe some of the levels we've seen so far. Because here it genuinely feels like you're kind of exploring a actual space base, where other levels kind of tried to have some quirks, and I don't think they work so well. At least not as well as this. So, interesting fact, where that shadow is there, there's actually a vent. There's actually a secret up there, but because we don't have a jetpack, we can't actually get up there. I did try to jump on his head there. So what I'm going to do when we get to the end of this little run here, I'm actually going to come back here, and I'm just going to show you what's up there, because it is pretty interesting actually.
Where is it?
So I'm going to grab the armor there. Now there's a few enemies around this corner here. Nice use of light in here as well, because obviously this room is basically just a grey corridor. So we've got to do something to try and make it look less sort of dull for the player when they're kind of wandering through all these areas. I think they managed to do a decent job of that in Duke Nukem. It's a very understated kind of thing. That room is filled with monsters. We are just going to kill everything inside. So here's the airlock that we have to pass through to get outside. So this next room here, it's one of the more striking areas that you'll see in any of the Duke Nukem levels. You don't normally get areas this vast and large, and you can see there's an absolute metric crap ton of drones heading for us there. So get rid of those two before they even become a problem. There's a battle lord waiting for us there. Yeah, I'm going to use those pipe bombs we collected earlier on to get rid of these guys. But yes, this is a massive arena, and it's a little disappointing that the best they could come up with here to fill it was a bunch of drones and a battle lord. You know, there's a lot of potential here, and I think like it was kind of left on the table a tiny bit. Like, but then again, I kind of like it when big areas like this are filled with monsters, because it just makes for an epic encounter, whereas dodging these drones is not epic, let me tell you. But this does lead to one of the most striking little moments here as we kind of make our way up the ramp here. kind of see there's a hole in the middle there. If we drop down though without a jetpack and with not much health, it could be a fatal experience. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to kind of grab this, and then we're not going to drop down it, but I am going to observe it safely from a distance. So we head back down here, and yeah, I do like this space. I know it's a bit basic by modern standards, but it is pretty striking when you walk out here, and it's like it's just a massive area. Again, the battle lords are not a problem if you have a shrink ray. You do really need a jetpack to get all the secrets on this level, and I think that's pretty obvious. So make sure you save a jetpack when you're coming into this level. So now we're kind of entering the tighter spaces here. We've seen the big vast area there, now we're in the tight crevices of the moon surface here.
Come get some. Who wants some?
Just get rid of these guys. So as we head inside here, there's actually one of the more famous references in Duke Nukem. So we'll take out the monsters at the side there, and there's the monolith. So if you've never seen Space Odyssey, well, I guess this is going to go right over your head, but it's actually pretty eerie, and the music and the sounds here kind of add to it. I'll let you kind of take that in. So as we walk around the back there, we actually get teleported to an alien spaceship, and this is pretty much the end of the level here. There's actually a secret exit in this room somewhere, so I will sort of show that off if I can find it in a minute. But yeah, this level does a great job of escalating and kind of making you feel like you're working towards something really big, because you work through that big space base and then you come out into that massive open area, and then you come to this alien ship. So again, Duke Nukem does a really great job of escalating its level design as you're playing and kind of telling a story through the textures used and just kind of the settings and locales that you end up exploring. So I'm actually going to look for this secret exit here. Now, normally I don't even bother with this secret level, but I do kind of want to show off how you get there, if I can find it. I know it's in this part. Is there like a secret exit here? I know it's in this room somewhere. Well, what I'll probably do here, I don't want to kind of have to resort to no clipping, so what I'll do, I'll finish the level normally, I think, unless I can find it now, and then what I'll do, I'll just sort of edit in me going through that exit when I actually know where it is. It's not in here, is it? See, look at me here trying to kind of work my way through the secret. Yeah, so you can kind of see here that behind the exit there's actually a little tunnel, and that actually goes into the start of the next level. So again, the levels here kind of all feel interlinked, and we kind of like that. Darkside is a long level, but I don't think that's a negative here, because I think that as a penultimate level in the sequence of story levels, it kind of has to, you know, finish telling the story of the space part of Duke Nukem 3D, and I like that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm actually going to show you the two things I couldn't show you in the original playthrough. So here I am with a jetpack, and this is the secret that I was referring to. So you come up here and grab these two atomic healths, but you can actually come out and sort of run around in the transit link here. And honestly, this is really cool, because like normally you wouldn't sort of think you could come into this space, but yeah, you can, and it actually hurts you if you let your protective boots run out, so that's something worth noting. And no, you can't damage the enemies from in here, you have to actually kind of go in normally. And here's that secret exit I was referring to. So it turns out it's actually a jump up here, and so take note, you can't come in through that side, but this takes you to Lunatic Fringe, which I'm going to be honest with you, I don't have much experience with. I never usually go through this secret exit, I usually just head straight for the boss level. So when I'm doing that video, I'm actually going to be playing it pretty much for the first time, so that's going to be fun for you to all experience. But let's talk about the N64 version of this level, because you'll notice straight away they've actually moved where the shotgun was, so it's no longer at the bottom of the lift over there, it's actually up here, and I can imagine they've done that because they probably thought this area might be a bit more difficult on an N64 controller. And we gaze upon the sadness that is the lack of skybox in this version. We're going to take out all of these enemies here, and you'll notice that the door opens from the middle there, so it doesn't actually spread out like it does in the normal PC version, and that makes this all feel a lot less epic. But the big difference is that there's no outside part in this level, so yeah, it's definitely a choice, and the thing is, it might not make complete sense right now why they've done that, but as we kind of make our way through the level, you'll understand that getting rid of that outside area actually kind of hides the fact that they've taken out a whole section of this level. And here's a hint, you've not seen the blue keycard thing on the wall there, because if you hit that switch there, that's how you open this in this version. So yeah, there is no blue keycard, so they actually take out the middle section here. So this room's still here, but other than this room, you wouldn't know there was anything in the middle part. It is a massive cut from this level, but at the same time, if you kind of feel this level is a bit long in the tooth anyway, it might actually make this the better version of this level. I'm just checking there's no added secrets up here, but as you can see, we only really have two directions to go in here, so we're going to head in this direction here. It's also worth noting that they've got rid of this secret here, so there is no more crack in the wall, so we may as well just move on there. So we'll grab the ammo from in here. So this room is pretty much untouched from the PC version. Oh man, I felt these guys always get me. We got ourselves the SMGs here, which is really useful because this room is filled with the enemies and the SMG just kind of mows through all of them, which is really nice. Wanted to grab that before it disappeared.
Hail to the king, baby.
Gonna make sure to grab all these items here. Get rid of you. Save the babe. So you can see this part of the level has been largely spurred from edits, which is an interesting choice. We don't want to trigger that tripwire there. So spare a thought for anyone who has to run through this part here on an N64 controller and not die, because frankly, like, the thought of doing that just terrified me. So if I remember rightly, they've toned down the colour in this area as well, so they've made it a lot less, you know, red. I mean, it's still red, but it's not as red. It's not like throwing it in your face red. It's just kind of, you know, that looks kind of red. Red. I've said red too many times, haven't I? So I'm going to get this pipe bomb ready because we've already seen what happens when you grab this yellow key card here. Yeah, it's not blue key card, it's just yellow here. I want to get rid of these guys. So yeah, that's the weird shrinker enemy from episode 4, making it yet another random appearance in this episode. I have a feeling we may see a lot more of that in the 3rd episode of Duke Nukem 3D. Our objective here is just to clear these enemies as we make our way back through the level. The SMGs will take care of most of them for us, which is really nice of them. So yeah, there's no blue key section for us to actually go into here, so all we have to do is head towards the yellow door over there and... oh wow, okay. You spawned there, that's a thing. It does make this level feel a lot less epic when there's no outdoors bit there, I have to say. And the decision to kind of take that away is more perplexing by what you'll see at the end of this level. The secret's still there, by the way. I will come back at the end of the level and show you what's up there. I'm actually going to save here to do that. Whee! So you can see that broken light as we were making our way down here. That's the one that we can walk out of. So it is kind of signposted if you're paying attention, which I usually don't. So we haven't really made use of this weapon yet. So this replaces the freeze ray, and the thing is, if you charge this up to like maximum, it can pretty much obliterate most enemies and surrounding enemies. So it is actually quite useful. I've just never really found like much use for it, but I'll show you here how useful it can be. So it pretty much just cleared that room there. So it is worth kind of keeping this in your back pockets. So I have to say, I think that with the cuts made in this level, the fact that this room made it in pretty much wholesale is very surprising to me. Because this is a massive room, so it would have been easily justifiable to take it out. But then again, I guess like they felt like this is probably the centerpiece of this level. It's like the jaw-dropping wow moment, and to kind of take it away, I think may kind of steal from the level. I'm just trying to work out the logic here. But yeah, fighting these drones is never fun. Use the shrink ray and mass here. So as you can see, we'll grab all the items here, and then we'll grab the atomic help. Excuse me, hold up a minute. So, excuse me, what? I literally picked up the atomic health there. So I'm grateful that we saved here, but what I'm going to do, I'm actually just going to edit us back to where we were. I'm aware that the build engine, or at least like the build engines that they were using when this game came out, if you kind of get stuck in small spaces that are like smaller than Duke himself, the game just crushes you, which is why you can actually get killed by doors in the initial builds of Duke Nukem 3D. Like, I think they fixed that in the 20th anniversary edition. But yeah, that's just... normally I would edit that kind of thing out and I'd just start again. But I thought it was just such a funny moment that, like, I had to show it, because I imagine I'm not the only person who's died to that. So you're going to see another change coming up here in a second. So all those chasms and, you know, now walkways that we saw have been reduced to a very small amount of what was here. So you can kind of see in this level how they've had to nip and tuck and shrink down quite a lot to get this sort of in the game, which I commend them for. But at the same time, it's just interesting to kind of try to dissect, like, which parts they kept and which parts they didn't keep. So again, our monolith is here. That didn't get cut out. There's also a little sign there basically telling people who might get stuck here what to do. Okay, just going to use the grenade launcher here to empty the enemies here. You can kind of see that, like, there's actually a hole there. So interestingly, in this version you actually go in on the other side, so, and it's not even hidden, so it's not really a secret exit, it's more of a slightly hidden exit. Okay, let's just get rid of all these enemies. But yeah, oh wow, hello, it's you again. Oh, we're seeing a lot of you in this level, aren't we? I'm not complaining, it's pretty cool to see them here. But yeah, when talking about Darkside, I think that it's a very interesting level. Whichever version you're playing of it, it's very clear that, you know, this level is trying to tell the sort of conclusion to the space-based part of this game, and I think it does a really great job of kind of showing the strengths of all that space-based design. They've also moved the exits over to that side, which completely baffles me, because the whole point of the exit being on the other side was that it's supposed to be quite seamless when you go into the next level, but, you know, try and logic out that choice. So yes, there is a secret exit on this version of Darkside, and we can actually make use of it. There's so much to dissect with Darkside, from the PC version, which is large, it's got a lot of interesting fun moments, there's a lot of different things happening, all the way through to the N64 version, which nips and tucks to try and get the level to actually fit into the N64 version. So I'm actually just going to quickly show you this secret, because I just kind of want to show that it actually did make the cut here. Surprisingly, it's one of the things that didn't get touched in this level. And you can still actually head out into the track here. But yeah, Darkside for me is very big, it's a very interesting level, it tries a lot of things, and I think most of the things it tries, it succeeds at. So yeah, we can't hit each other. I think that the PC version might be a bit too long, a touch too long, I think. But at the same time, I appreciate the epic scale it's going for, and I like all the things it tries. So, you know, it's very hard to complain about Darkside. It's a big level, but it achieves the ends it sets out to. So I actually want to see what happens if we put these laser trip mines here, and then we actually ride the train down. I know this is nothing to do with the level, but you gotta let me try this curiosity out. Will we actually die? Yes, we do. Excellent. So let me know in the comments what you think of Darkside. Are you surprised by the changes in the N64 version? And thank you very much for watching.